Welcome to English through Emotional Stories, a place where we grow in language by walking alongside lives that change the world. Today, we enter a story that has echoed through centuries. The life of a man named Jesus. He was born to a poor family. He had no throne, no army, no wealth. And yet, his words have reached billions. This is not a sermon. This is a human story. It is about love without condition, truth spoken gently, and a life that still stirs the deepest questions in the human heart. Whether you follow him as a believer, study him as a historical figure, or simply listen as a seeker, his story is one of the most emotional ever told. Let's begin. Over 2,000 years ago, in the small town of Bethlehem, something quiet happened. A child was born. Not in a palace, not in a house, but in a stable, among hay, animals, and the smell of earth. His mother's name was Mary, a young woman, poor and unmarried, but full of faith. His earthly father, Joseph, was a carpenter, a man of few words and honest work. There was no doctor, no nurse, just a star above and a still night. The child was named Jesus, a name meaning the Lord saves. From the start, his life was touched by mystery. Wise men from the east arrived, guided by a star, bringing gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. Shepherds came too, simple men who had heard singing in the skies. They knelt before this baby, not because he looked powerful, but because they believed something holy had come to earth. But the joy was brief. In Jerusalem, King Herod heard of the birth of a child who might grow to be a king. He was afraid. Powerful men often fear innocent things. So he sent soldiers to Bethlehem to kill every boy under 2 years old. Mary and Joseph fled in the night, carrying Jesus in their arms. They ran to Egypt, crossing desert paths, hiding from death. Jesus, still a baby, became a refugee, a stranger in a foreign land. His life was already marked by danger, already shaped by sacrifice. Years passed. Mary and Joseph returned to a quiet town called Nazareth. It was small, dusty, ordinary. Here, Jesus grew up. He worked beside Joseph, learning to cut wood, fix doors, build furniture. He watched the sun rise over olive trees. He played in dusty streets with children. He saw Roman soldiers marching through town, reminding everyone who ruled the land. People knew him as the carpenter's son. Nothing more. No one expected greatness from Nazareth. No one expected the sky to open over a workshop. But Jesus was watching, listening, waiting. When Jesus was 12 years old, his family traveled to Jerusalem for the Passover festival, a holy celebration. The city was loud, full of travelers and prayers. After the festival, Mary and Joseph began the journey home. But Jesus had stayed behind. They searched for him for 3 days, worried, afraid. They found him in the temple, sitting among the teachers, listening and asking questions. The scholars were amazed. He was still a boy, but his questions had weight. His words had wisdom. When his mother asked why he had stayed behind, he answered, "Didn't you know I had to be in my Father's house?" But then, he returned home, and for many years, the world heard nothing. Jesus spent his youth in silence. No records of great miracles, no crowds, no speeches, just 30 years of quiet living. He worked. He prayed. He watched people suffer. He saw poverty. He saw injustice. He saw children cry and mothers bend from grief. He saw the rich grow richer, the powerful grow cruel. And in this silence, his compassion deepened. His heart did not harden. It became soft for the wounded, the forgotten, the sinful, the poor. He was preparing, not with swords, but with love. Then one day, everything shifted. Jesus walked to the banks of the Jordan River. There stood a wild man, John the Baptist, shouting about repentance, washing people in water. Jesus stepped into the river. John hesitated. He felt unworthy. But Jesus insisted, because even the Son of God chose to be humble. As Jesus rose from the water, the skies opened. A voice was heard. "This is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased." A dove descended, gentle, silent. The moment had come. Jesus left the river, and the wilderness began to call. Before teaching, before healing, before gathering followers, Jesus withdrew. He went into the desert alone. For 40 days, he fasted. No food, no comfort, only sand, sky, silence, and temptation. Voices came. "Turn these stones to bread. Throw yourself down. The angels will catch you. Bow to me, and I'll give you the kingdoms of the world." But Jesus answered each temptation with truth, not force. He was hungry, tired, vulnerable, yet he stood firm. He chose obedience over ease, mission over power. When he emerged, he was ready, not to rule, but to serve. Jesus returned to Nazareth, but soon left to begin traveling. He walked through towns and villages, calling people to change their hearts. He did not wear rich clothes. He carried no sword. He called fishermen and tax collectors, not scholars or priests. He said, "Come, follow me." Some did. Others laughed. But wherever he went, the poor listened. The sick came. The sinners felt hope. He touched the untouchable. He dined with the rejected. He spoke in stories, parables, so everyone could understand. His fame began to spread. So did fear among the powerful. But Jesus was not here for praise. He was here to bring light, even if it led to darkness. And that darkness was coming. Jesus did not seek attention, but attention followed him. He walked among the outcasts, the sick, the poor, the forgotten. He spoke of a kingdom not built by men, but grown within the human heart. He said, "Blessed are the poor in spirit. Blessed are those who mourn. Blessed are the meek." He preached on hillsides, in boats, in marketplaces. He used stories, simple yet deep, of lost sheep, hidden treasures, mustard seeds. He taught that God was not distant, but close, like a father, a friend. He touched lepers with his bare hands. He spoke to women who had been silenced. He forgave sinners before they could ask. And he taught that love was the greatest commandment, love for God and love for others, even enemies. But not everyone welcomed this kind of kingdom. The more Jesus healed, the more he forgave, the more threatened the powerful felt. The religious leaders were strict, proud, and full of rules. Jesus challenged their pride. He exposed their hearts. He entered the temple, the holiest place in Jerusalem, and found it full of merchants and money changers. He turned over the tables. Coins scattered. Birds flew. People stared. He shouted, "My Father's house shall be called a house of prayer, but you have made it a den of thieves." To some, he was a prophet. To others, a troublemaker. The leaders began to whisper, to scheme, to plan how to silence him. But Jesus did not hide. He continued to teach, knowing what lay ahead. It was the time of Passover, the holiest week for the Jewish people. Jesus gathered his 12 disciples for a meal in an upper room. He washed their feet, a task usually done by a servant. He broke bread and said, "This is my body given for you." He poured wine and said, "This is my blood shed for the forgiveness of sins." And then, with sorrow in his eyes, he turned to one of his own. "One of you will betray me." That man was Judas Iscariot. He slipped away into the night, coins in his pocket, shame already growing. The others didn't understand, but Jesus did. He knew the hour of darkness had come. After the meal, Jesus went to a garden called Gethsemane. He asked his friends to keep watch. He moved a little away, and then he fell to the ground. He wept. He sweat blood. He cried out, "Father, if it is possible, take this cup from me. Yet not my will, but yours be done." He was afraid, not of pain, but of the burden he would carry. He would carry every sorrow, every sin, every wound. His disciples had fallen asleep. Even now, he was alone. Then, torches appeared. Soldiers. Judas stepped forward and kissed him. A kiss of betrayal. Jesus was arrested. The others fled. They dragged Jesus before the religious council. They accused him of blasphemy, of claiming to be the Son of God. They spat on him. They beat him. They blindfolded him and mocked. "Prophesy who hit you." But the real judgment came from Pontius Pilate, the Roman governor. Pilate found no guilt in Jesus. But the crowd shouted, "Crucify him." Pilate washed his hands, pretending innocence, and gave the order. Jesus was whipped, crowned with thorns, and led to die. They gave him a heavy wooden cross. He carried it through the streets, weak, bloody, silent. Women wept. Soldiers laughed. The sky grew dark. They led him to Golgotha, the place of the skull. They nailed his hands and feet. They raised the cross. Pain rippled through his body. He looked at the people and said, "Father, forgive them. They know not what they do." Beside him were two criminals. One mocked, the other believed. To the one who believed, Jesus whispered, "Today you will be with me in paradise." And then, after hours of agony, he cried out, "It is finished," and died. The earth shook. The curtain in the temple tore in two. Even the centurion whispered, "Surely this man was the Son of God." His body was taken down and wrapped in cloth, laid in a borrowed tomb. A stone rolled over the entrance. Hope seemed lost. His followers hid. His mother wept. The world went quiet. For 3 days, the tomb was still. For 3 days, it seemed darkness had won. But the story was not over. Early on the 3rd day, women went to the tomb. They brought spices for his body. They expected to find death. But instead, they found the stone rolled away. An angel stood nearby and said, "Why do you look for the living among the dead? He is not here. He has risen." Jesus was alive. He appeared to Mary. He appeared to his disciples. He walked with them. He ate with them. He showed his wounds. Some doubted, but when he spoke their names, they believed. Before he left, Jesus gave his final words. "Go into all the world. Teach, love, forgive, and remember, I am with you always." Then he rose into the sky, but he was not gone. His spirit remained. In every act of love, every word of truth, every heart that chooses light over hate. His name echoed across countries and centuries. Empires rose and fell. But the man from Nazareth, the carpenter's son, changed the world without lifting his sword. The life of Jesus is not just ancient history. It is a mirror showing us what love looks like when it costs everything. He healed the broken. He forgave the guilty. He wept. He bled. He embraced. Never for himself, but always for others. He taught us that power is not control, it is compassion. That justice is not revenge, it is mercy. That true strength is found in humility, and that true glory comes from serving. His story is filled with pain, but it is also filled with hope. And hope, like light, is not easy to destroy. As you learn English through his story, you are learning more than language. You are learning how to speak gently, how to feel deeply, how to listen to the quiet voice within. You are learning that every word has power, and so do you. So keep going, and may your words, like his, bring light into the world. If you like to listen and learn English more about stories, please subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell. Please like and share with your friends who are trying to improve their English knowledge.